Are you here to see Karla's quilt up on the quilting bed? I hope so, because that's what's happening right here. What a lovely quilt. Nicely done. You know, I have done thousands and thousands of quilts over here at the quilting studio, and I have had such a variety, and it's just nice to see each quilt and what the person's interpretation is. Whether they have maybe done the same design as somebody else, it doesn't really matter, because they have chosen their own set of colors and options to go with it, and then the density of the quilting and the style of quilting I'm putting on it is going to make it different than any other quilt I've ever done. So it all gets to be such an exciting adventure all the way through. The design I'm putting on here is one of my new favorites, Daisy Power. She's a cutie pie. Love the mottled purple backing she chose right there. And she wanted the color of thread to reflect the front, being the Petunia color. And you can see it's just shining brightly on the backing right there. I want to talk about a couple of things. I do get asked about how much fabric do I need on the back of the quilt when I bring it over to your quilting studio. I get a lot of clients that call or text or respond and ask, how much do I need? I love it when somebody asks ahead of time. I need to have 3 inches minimum all the way around. If you have a minky backing, I need more than that. I need 4 or 5. If you have a large quilt that's over 100 inches each way, I need to have probably closer to 4 inches, because the backing isn't always perfectly straight and the front isn't always perfectly straight. And if they happen to go in together at the same time, we no longer have 3 or 4 inches to deal with. So that's something to be aware of. And why? Why do I need it? You can see I am using my clamps on the side to be able to add tension to both sides of the quilt. Also, when I attach it to the top and the bottom leaders right here, I will do it with what I call my red snappers. And with that, I need to have something to be able to clamp onto and grip. So that's why I need the 3 or 4 inches. If it is way more, if you bring me a lot of extra fabric, I might cut it off and of course give it back to you if it's just going to get in my way. If it's not going to get in my way, I might leave it. I will always try to preserve as much backing as possible. I will try to bring your quilt over as far as I can in one way or the other, leaving you a lot of backing if that's what you've given me to deal with. In this case, I've got about 3.5 inches each side, and so I'm just centering it right down that. Okay, the other thing I want to talk to you about is batting. You might be saying, why is there this huge amount of batting over here on this side? What's going on? Why is it cut right here? Karla's using my batting. The benefit to using my batting, one is I have 5 different styles. I have something curated for your specific style of quilt. But the other thing is that you're only having to pay for exactly how much you use. Like I have literally cut it to a little bit top and bottom different here, and then I will cut it off as we go along the edge of the quilting. And so I'm going to be slicing that here in just a little bit, leaving her just a little in case she wants to put that inside of her batting, inside of her binding. So you don't need to pay for this part, which is great. So what do I do with the rest of it? I will measure how large this is. And if I get a baby quilt or a smaller quilt that happens to be close to that size, I will reuse it for that. And this part wasn't paid for by Karla, so it will just be gently paid for by the other person. Also, if I have a smaller piece that isn't big enough for that, I might Frankenstein it together for some donation quilts that I use for some charity purposes, or for learning quilts for myself when I try to put some quilts together with new designs that I'm working on. So, a couple of things to think about. If you have a quilt you'd like to send here to Brenda's Quilting Studio, it's my lower season. Please consider sending a quilt over here. I can literally get it up on the quilting bed right away. Information down in the show notes. It's a very easy intake form. Not challenging at all. We can get things done quickly. Please like and subscribe. We want to get these lovely quilts out to more people to be able to increase the endorphins in people's bodies, because anything you see that causes you to have happiness and joy and passion for life brings up those endorphins and brings us more happiness, and we all need to have that. Have a lovely day.